In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to document mentor sessions. So we're actually starting in Teams because I want to show you a resource that we have. So if you start out in the Mentors team, in the Mentors curriculum channel, and then you will find a sheet that says curriculum documentation. Some of you received several hard copies of this at the beginning of your training. So if we look at this sheet, this is something that you can keep for each of your students. I actually keep an electronic copy of this form for each of my students, and then I just fill it in and I have electronic files instead of paper files. What you'll notice is that there is a section for the date that you've done a goal, and that's called the focus. And then what the intervention is the work that you did with the students. So if you played a game with them, or you did a particular worksheet or an activity, that's what you're writing in the intervention. So I want you to keep this in mind when we look at how we document our mentor sessions. So I'm going to go back to Theranos now. So I'm going to create an appointment for my practice client. So I'm still doing telehealth mentoring. So I'm going to create an appointment. And so I just clicked on an appointment, and then I select new appointment. Now, for telehealth appointment, will automatically generate a link to the Theranos platform when you select that. So I want to check some things in this appointment box. I want to check that the name is correct and also that the service is correct. So telehealth mentoring is anything that is virtual mentoring. And then if you are ever seeing a student face to face, you would select just plain mentoring. Okay. Now, always make sure that you deselect one thing before you select another. And you should always have one thing in there. So, telebehavioral health mentoring, not plain old telebehavioral health, that goes with family support. Okay. And also notice my location is the name of the school followed by the word mentoring. If your location does not end with the word mentoring, then it's going to be read as a family support session instead of a mentoring session. Okay, so once I've got that done, then I look at the time and the date. So I'm just going to pretend that this is right, except notice that it defaults to an hour. So you have to change it to 30-minute sessions. If you change the date, so let's say I did from 8 to 8:30. No, I don't know what happened to 8:30. That isn't, I guess that's because it's after hours. I'll show you how to change that in a different section. So let's say we'll go from 6 to 6:30. So then I say, oh wait, I need to change the date. So it's actually not the 4th, it's the 6th. Notice that it goes back and it changes my time to the defaulted hour. So you have to do the time after you decide on the date. Now I decide that's all correct and I hit save. Okay, so now I have an appointment, but I have to find it to do a note. So if I do the appointment and the note on the same day, then it makes it a lot easier because things just pop up where I want them to be. So if I hit my agenda, so I think I chose the 6th, so I got to go to that date. You will see the session in my agenda screen. So I'm assuming that I had this appointment and now I'm going to do the note. So I add progress note. And to do this, you are going to, first of all, you're going to start with the risk assessment at the bottom. And suicidality, not present. Homicidality, not present. If you need to select anything other than not present, then this box right here is for documenting what your action was because of it. And the action because of it, if a student has any kind of suicidal ideation, if they're in school when you're mentoring them, then this is a time to call the counselor in and speak with the counselor and the student, and basically sort of pass the student off to the counselor for intervention. If the student is in the home, this is the time to contact the adults and explain to the adults. So a child, one of the things that we want to do with a child is let them know if we are going to have to share something that they said. So it's good to let them know ahead of time the types of things you will have to share, but then also to let them know that, this is dangerous behavior and, we need to talk to your parents or whatever. So you'll write that in there. And then if there's any kind of suicidality, I would also want you to notify me what happened and what your action steps were because of it. So we want to make sure that we have that all taken care of and documented correctly. Okay, so then we go to the top side. So these are the 3 boxes that you're going to fill out: session focus, therapeutic intervention, and planned intervention. So we're going to go back to look at the document that we were looking at in Teams. So session focus, for face-to-face mentoring in a school, all you would have to write in the session focus box is what is in the focus box. And then the intervention is what you did. And then the next steps is going to be, what are you going to do next week? So it's focus box, then the intervention is what you did, and then next steps is what are you going to do next time. So that was pretty straightforward, and it is pretty straightforward for face-to-face mentoring. Now, when we are telehealth mentoring, we have to make extra effort to make sure that we indicate what our safety plan is, because we are not with the student. So that should be something we document every session, what we're doing. So in the Mentor Toolkit channel, under Files, you are going to see at the top, there's a folder that says Scripts for Notes, Contacts, and Emails. It's actually coming from this one, Scripts for Notes, Contacts, and Emails. So if you click on that folder, you will see several documents, and one of them says Focus Statement for Case Notes. So this is something that you can cut and paste from and literally put it in as the introduction to your focus statement. So, for example, look the part that is not highlighted. You could put this pretty much in everyone's, the very beginning of a session for a student seen at home. Today's session took place via our virtual platform, Theranest. If you're using the virtual platform of Microsoft Teams, then state that in the statement. And then you're talking about the safety plan and how you began the session, speaking with the guardian or the safety adult, and then make sure that everyone remembered the plan. What is in yellow is you might want to include at maybe just the first, to remind the family of the safety plan that is detailed in the consent form. All right, so this is going to be your copy and paste. And so we're going to go back. And so then the focus statement is where you would say today's telehealth session via, Theranest began with, talking to the parent or guardian about the safety plan and so on and so forth. And then you would say today's focus was goal setting, period. And then therapeutic intervention, we used the SMART goals template to set the student's SMART goal. That would be your intervention. Next week, we are going to work on, I don't remember what comes next. I think it's coping skills. So that is your note. And then you will save and e-sign and go through the process. So remember the e-sign, the first time you e-sign, it is going to ask you to create a signature, and then you will sign the document. Once you sign the document, then what is going to happen is when you go back and you look at that appointment, so if you go back and look at the appointment with the signed document, then you are going to see view linked progress note down here. And you will probably get, if you click on it, you're going to get this orange statement that won't let you go back and do anything. And the reason it won't let you go back and do anything is because you signed it. So I can go back and remove your signature if you need to edit your note. Okay. The other thing I forgot to mention when you were writing your note is I want to mention what's going on here. So it has your service date and time and your appointment time. And then it has a duration in minutes of 30 minutes. This number, while you can still edit, it's possible. I'm going to remove the signature so you can see how I can edit that. So I can change this. I can make this 20 minutes if I want. And it doesn't change the appointment time. So do not change this number. If you want this number to be different, you need to go back and edit the appointment. And so you can see for here, I have a no appointment, and then I have a create a new appointment, which you can do that, but then you still have to go back and delete this one. So I find it easier to just delete and then restart unless you kind of get your steps out of order. But that's essentially my advice for that. So please be careful, because this time in minutes is how we bill our funder. And unfortunately, it's just not automatic with the appointment time, even though you think it would be.